Okay, now making a buzz, Israel becomes the first country in the world to ban underweight models in advertising. The law passed overnight also forces ad execs to disclose when a picture's been airbrushed. Supporters hope the law will lead to more realistic images of women in advertising. They also hope it'll cut back on the number of girls and young ladies with eating disorders. In Israel, about 2% of all girls between the ages of 14 and 18 have some sort of eating disorder. That's similar to the numbers in other developed countries. Do you think this kind of law is a good answer to those problems? Would you like to see more realistic advertising here? Well, joining us to discuss this topic and so much more is today's guest, Gray Staffer from the Wildlife World Zoo. Gray, thanks so much for being with us. You have a couple items over here we're going to talk about. Don't disclose what's in the bag yet.
I won't.
Okay.
You got to guarantee.
All right. Yeah, we got to keep our viewers sticking around for the big surprise in the bag. All right. Let's talk about this advertising situation. What do you think?
Well, I can't think of two more fitting people to talk about young models than you and I. But,
absolutely. We're the experts.
I kind of see this as a First Amendment issue because as much as I am concerned about the image and the well-being of young women, I think this is an overreach on government's part. I think we should let the consumer decide. And I was a teacher for many years at an all-girls school, so I'm very sensitive to the issues that surround young women and their development and their success in life. But I think in this case, this is going a little too far.
Well, that's a great background you have right there, because this has been an issue that has been coming up for many years, especially with the airbrushing and girls looking at these images in the magazines and all the popular magazines saying, I want to look like that.
Right.
Well, being a former teacher at an all-girls school, did you have to combat that?
You absolutely do, and you see all sorts of social issues affecting young women, even in an all-female environment at that school. Now, as far as airbrushing and putting a little disclaimer that this photograph has been modified, I don't have as much of an issue with that, because then there's a little more truth in advertising. But as far as setting weight restrictions or any kind of size restrictions for the actual models, to me that's going too far.
It's going to be interesting if something like this were to play out and they have to do that. Where are they going to put a little asterisk on the photo? Is it going to be on their ear to maybe look like an earring or something, and then at the very bottom in the small print? Do you think it's worthwhile for the government to spend time to incorporate a law, something like this here in the United States?
No, because I think we can address some of these issues through parenting, through our school system, and through formal education programs and informal education programs and support groups. I don't think the government has to step in here and legislate something which is fundamentally, to me, a First Amendment issue, a freedom of press issue.
Well, you know, a lot of our viewers have been sounding off on this issue all day long. Let's go to some of our viewer comments on our Facebook page. Doreen writes in, it's not the skinny model's fault, it's the child's upbringing, just my opinion. Sarah Leonard says, good idea. Slender model is one thing, but underweight means unhealthy. Carol says, enough with the laws already. Can we say communism? I think skinny models are gross, but enough is enough. Corey McCoy says, agree 100%. Too bad that can't happen all over. I have an 8-year-old who says she needs to diet to look like a Disney star. Pretty sad. My goodness, that's a concern. And did you deal with those kinds of situations of girls thinking that they were too fat when they were normal whenever you were a teacher?
Absolutely. And, you know, obviously they didn't necessarily come to their physics instructor, their male physics instructor first.
But at least
it is an issue. It is an issue, and it was something that we as faculty were aware of and looked out for with our young women there. And obviously it's a very important issue to give our young people the best possible start. But again, I think this is going a little too far.
Clearly a societal concern in all of